Hey everyone, it's Michael. Today we're going to be talking about another classic Goosebumps book for this summertime reading review collection, whatever you want to call this. This one is Goosebumps number 45, again of the classic series called Ghost Camp. Ghost Camp I have been talking about for a while. I got it not too long ago on one of my book haul videos that I talk to you guys about all the time. I try to do it weekly, but you never know. Eventually that's going to probably stop. I'm going to do it as long as I get something in the mail each week. So, anyway, Ghost Camp. This was really, really good, and I cannot believe more people don't talk about how great this book is. This is on the scarier side. Now, everybody knows in the Goosebumps community, everybody knows on my channel, there are so many camp-focused Goosebumps books for summertime reading. I got really burned out on that. I did a few different book reviews, Give Yourself Goosebumps book reviews here recently because I was so burned out on camp books. I'm so tired of reading camp stuff from Goosebumps here lately. However, Ghost Camp is a major, major surprise and a major exception. I did not expect this book to be as good as it was. I could not thoroughly recommend Ghost Camp enough to you because of how good it was. Essentially, you have two brothers that are going to this camp called, sorry, there's so many Goosebump camps, I have to look at the back of the books to try to figure out what it's called. It's called Camp Spirit Moon. Camp Spirit Moon is a really weird place. They're very much about practical jokes. And the book kind of starts off with this really silly, just odd narrative, right? It starts off with the two brothers going to this camp, but while they're on the bus, and the one brother, the younger brother, he tends to get car sick, so he starts getting kind of sick and nauseous and stuff. And the only way to cool down his nerves and get himself to stop feeling sick or scared or anything like that is to sing, because he has a good voice and he can sing well. I'm not joking with you. That part is like schlock bad, like schlocky bad, but funny at the same time to me because it's so awful. But then when they get to the camp, they're basically just dropped off in the middle of nowhere by the bus driver, and he tells them to walk through a clearing and get out to this certain area, and then they'll find the camp. But when they do, they notice something kind of weird. There's only one kid there, and no one else. There's no camp counselors, there's no children, nothing. And it's in the middle of the day. Towards the end part of the summer, I believe is what it said, too. And the kids think that's really weird. They're like, why would they just leave us in the middle of nowhere and have no camp counselors or anybody? Well, apparently this was a joke. They just all come out of nowhere. But then the jokes start getting worse and worse, and more mean-spirited, if anything, as the book goes along. Now, for 118 pages, this was one of the most atmospheric and eerie and creepy and scary Goosebumps books I've ever read in my life. I've been reading Goosebumps again for like a lot of them for the first time ever, but some of them rereads, but a lot of them for the first time ever. This is a first time read ever for me for Ghost Camp. And I've been doing this since about last year when I had my back injury and couldn't work, and I stayed up late all the time reading scary books like Goosebumps stuff. And I'm not kidding, folks. This has to be one of the most satisfying and scary books I have read in a very long time, especially from Goosebumps. So if you're a younger reader, this might not be the best choice for you. If you're an adult looking for a Goosebumps book for your kid, maybe for the first time or anything, this might not be your best bet if it's a younger child. For adults, this will terrify you. I'd be really surprised if it didn't. For older teens and kids and stuff, I think this might really, really ring your bell, honestly. This is a good book. It's so atmospheric. It's just a creepy book. And even once you realize that it's a prank and all of the kids and counselors were just hiding as their typical joke they pull on new campers that show up for this camp, the attitudes of the different people that work there, like the main camp counselor, like Uncle Marv, or I think is what his name is, something like that, they're just weird people, right? And I don't want to tell you anything to give too much away from you, but there may or may not be ghosts at this camp, but there is this one meeting in the book that really was awesome. It was such a good, again, this is such a good book, but this is one of the best scenes in Goosebumps ever, in my opinion. It's basically just a scary story time by a campfire while eating hot dogs and stuff at nighttime. And the kids are told by the lead counselor these two different urban legend, myth, scary story, creepy fireside story type things that may or may not be true. One of them focuses on a camp counselor guiding his group of kids from the camp deep, deep into the woods. That story genuinely creeped me out when I read it. I genuinely got chills from that scene. That's how good this book is. The second story, I can't exactly remember off the top of my head what it was, but it was kind of eerie too, you know, from what I remember the feeling. I remember the feeling more than I do the actual story when it comes to that second story. But I don't want to tell you too much. I don't want to spoil the book for you. But this was such a good book, man. Why do people not consider this one of their top 10 Goosebumps books of all time? Again, this doesn't have any gore. It doesn't have any real violence or anything. Pretty much like no Goosebumps books have either of those things. But still, I'm really surprised by how many people don't talk about Ghost Camp. Even in some of the bigger YouTubers when it comes to Goosebumps in the community, I'm surprised by how many don't even remember the book that much. You know, they don't even remember enjoying it that much or loving it or anything like that. I'm really hoping that when I look at Voodoo tonight, the app, not the magical practice evil thing, but I'm hoping that there is a Ghost Camp episode. I feel like there is. I feel like there's Welcome to Camp Nightmare, and I feel like there's a Ghost Camp episode too. But if there is, I promise you I'll be jumping on that immediately because I want an episode of this so bad. You have no idea. I'm not even kidding, folks. This was such a satisfying read. If you can't tell by my attitude in this video, even though I'm sick, even though my throat still hurts and my cough is still around and stuff, if you can't tell by my demeanor alone how much I thoroughly enjoyed this book, it's like when I read Goosebumps Horrorland number 2, Creep from the Deep. It was such an out-of-the-nowhere type of book that I wasn't really even looking that forward to. I was with Creep from the Deep I actually looked forward to. But Ghost Camp, again, was another camp book. I wasn't looking forward to this, and it just swept my feet out from under me. I'm currently starting the sequel, Return to Ghost Camp, from the Series 2000 line. I haven't got far enough to whether I can tell you if I like it or not. You'll see it in the review at some point. God willing, I live long enough to finish the book. But this first book, man, Ghost Camp really got to me. I'm going to be honest with you. I read a lot of this during the daytime. I don't have a whole lot of time to read at nighttime here lately with my schedule with work and everything else. And this got to me really bad. It was a really creepy book, honestly. But it was great. And look at this awesome cover, by the way, in case you haven't seen it before. It's just such a weird book. Like, this really surprised me. Is there anything else I wanted to say about this great book? I don't think there was, but yeah, this is really solid. If you want a really surprisingly creepy Goosebumps book, at least to me, it really got to me, honestly. Even the ending was satisfying, in my opinion. Kind of suited the story that we got, with a little bit of silly moments and a little bit, well, a lot of it, of horror. I think you'll love this. If you really want a scary Goosebumps book like Goosebumps Wanted the Haunted Mask, even though I think that's scarier than this, or the first 2 Haunted Mask books in general, this is a really creepy one. Again, mind your age. If you can't handle scary things, do not read Ghost Camp. I genuinely think it's amazing. I really do. If I had to rate Goosebumps number 45, Ghost Camp, on a 5-star basis, it's hands down getting a 5 out of 5 from me. I love this book. I will always probably have this in my top 10, easily. I don't know where to add my top 10. Maybe I'll do a list one day when I read all the Goosebumps books that have ever been released or something. I don't know. But this is a treat, man. If you haven't read this before, you really should get on it at some point and try to check it out. So good. I could not recommend Ghost Camp enough, like I said. 5 out of 5 for me. What did you guys think about Ghost Camp? What did you think about the sequel? Don't spoil anything for me, but put your thoughts down below about what you thought of the books. Mainly this first one. What did you think about it if you read it? I love this. Like I said, I'll stand by that, and I will defend the crap out of it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today. Again, thank you for watching. I really appreciate the people who watch these and talk with me about these books and everything else. Anyway, God bless you guys, and goodbye.